start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'm gonna move citizens' concerns to number 2. Let's do minutes first. Do any of you guys have any issues or objections to minutes?
None.
No objections.
Okay, we'll send them on to council. Okay, actually, you want to do grants too? That's pretty much,
That's what he's looking
yeah.
at.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah, and we're gonna move grants up next. Permission to submit to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement, Local Transportation Improvement Programs. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what we're asking permission to apply for is the Ohio Public Works Commission. It's a grant program that the city applies for every year. Prior to this, utilities have applied for utility type projects on it. Since I came through and I was familiar with it in Findlay, I was kind of talking to Alice about it, and with the way the scoring works up here, it's a lot harder to get utility projects funded. It's a lot easier to get roadway projects. We were able to get a project funded last year on the utility side, but that's because we received some bonus points. The county can provide bonus points to 3 projects. Since we did get that last year, the odds of us getting any bonus points this year or the next year are pretty much none. So the odds of getting another utility project awarded the grant is probably not going to happen. So I talked with Alice about it and was looking for a roadway project since those score higher and we'd be more likely to be able to get the grant. So what we was looking at for that is doing some resurfacing work on Eckel Junction Road from 25 to the railroad tracks, so just past CAT. The road's not in it's cracked, it drives okay, but it's getting to where it's going to need some work done. It was last repaved in 2002, so it's 20 years.
That was my project.
It does have a pretty good cross section on it, so we're thinking we can just take off the top 3.5 inches. Once we do that, we'll see how the base looks. We may have to do some spot repairs and then put 3.5 inches of new asphalt back, restripe it. So all we're looking for is to apply for the grant. I do need something from council that says that you gave us the permission to apply.
No problem. You won't find much issues with it. That was my first project as a project inspector, and we built it strong for heavy semi-traffic, so.
Does it have to be that section? I mean, there could be other sections in town that need it worse than that, right?
It could be, but scoring-wise, you get more points if it's a heavily traveled road than if it's a residential
Rather than a
street.
residential?
Yes.
Because we do have some residential areas that are in dire need.
And just kind of as an FYI, the engineering department is going to be re-ranking and re-rating all of the roads. Starting in the next week or 2. I still got one thing I'm waiting to get shipped to me. So we're going to be doing that internally.
Okay.
So
Use PCN ratings.
what's that?
I think I asked you that. Use PCN ratings.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are going to be re-ranking all the streets and doing that. So that'll help because streets have deteriorated since the last time that was done, and they do not deteriorate evenly. You can have 2 streets side by side, and one goes okay during the winter, the other can completely fall apart for whatever reason.
Summer's not, so with our hot temperatures, it's not helping.
No.
I've seen them fail from hot temperatures too.
Right.
I don't have any issues, you guys?
No, this is, it's good. Of course, we're going to apply for that grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, the road's gonna need it eventually, and if we're gonna get some money through the grant, we're saving money elsewhere.
Right.
You spend on one of the side roads or something like that, might need a little bit more, so, makes sense.
Cheaper.
I have no objection.
Doing it now, we'll delay it, it'll take more money to repair it, because it'll need more repair. we do this now, we probably get 5, 10 more years out of it before we have to go back in and do major repairs.
I'm hoping more than that.
I'm being a pessimist.
Right.
So, yeah, okay. Send another council.
I mean, this, I'm just looking at the map here and the legislation, not gonna argue with you here on that, but that particular road, I mean, it's heavy traffic. There's semis going down that road. I know we have some industrial sites and we've got CAT and semis are always going there. That's the way they come in and out of that area, right?
Yeah.
On Echo, right?
As I said, I was one of the project inspectors on that. When we built that for that type of traffic. We didn't build it for regular residential. We built it for heavy duty semi-traffic, because even back then, where was CAT's gonna go?
Right.
You knew Cat was gonna go there then?
That was word back then, that something big was going in there.
Well, that's nice.
Not necessarily CAT, but something big.
Right.
So we built it, that has a good base on it, with good drainage.
Oh, for the businesses that rely on the delivery and things like that, that's gonna be a nice addition.
Now, I'm still not guaranteeing that if we apply for the grant, we're going to get the grant.
I'm trying to be optimistic.
Nope, that's fine too. I'm just,
Thank
I
you.
mean, if we don't get it, that's one that can be delayed a little.
How good do you feel about it?
it's only my second year with this district. Finnan was a different district, so I'm still feeling it out.
So it's 175,000, will they come back with a lower number? Do they do that sometimes? Will they come back with like, well, you're not approved for the 175?
What they do is they look at the percentage. So to score the most points, it's 175,000. If you go above that, your points decrease.
Okay.
But they also look at the percent of the grant ask versus the total project. So I think that came out to about 30%, 33%, something like that. So if we're awarded the grant, the application will say that they'll pay, say it's 33%, they'll pay for 33% of the construction up to $175,000.
Okay.
So if we bid it and it comes in lower than our estimate, they'll pay the 33%. If it comes in at the estimate or over, the most we'll get is 175.
Okay.
It's not one of those, we get the leftover money.
Yeah, we don't get the leftover.
That'd be nice, wouldn't
Right.
it? Okay. Send it on to council for approval, recommendation. Okay. You want the citizens' concerns?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna open up to citizen concerns. Please come up, state your name and address, and,
My name is Hank Holland. I live at 132 Crandon Drive.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear where,
Pardon?
I didn't hear your street.
132 Crandon Drive. I've lived there since 1977. We were in the township. And then we went into the city. And after the city came in, they come out and put a new surface on Crandon Drive. And we got new curbs in the front along Crandon Drive. The new subdivision went in. 550 acre field behind my home was developed. They haven't done anything to the roads out there, the city streets, since that time, since they put them in. Basically, they kept patched them. And my curbs along the Oddie side of my property, I live on the corner, they're just falling apart. Recently, in the last couple of weeks, the city came out and had crews dig out on the front of my driveway part of the concrete and put in new concrete, some kind of a concrete stuff they put in there so that I could get in and out of my driveway. I've been asking for that for several years. It's just now done. They finally did that, but they said they wouldn't take care of the rest of the curbs on my property or across from the street, my neighbor's property, until they put new streets in. They look terrible. You know, we pay taxes the same as everyone else. We deserve to have our property looking good, and it sure is not looking good. The street's bad to drive on. All of Oddie is terrible, from Crandon all the way up to the very end if you're going out of the new subdivision. Oh, it's just patches here, patches there. And I blame a lot of this on people when they your ordinances or law or whatever you want to call it, the city and probably the state, I've been told there's state ordinances also, about putting in streets, roads in the area we live in the city. Residential stuff. You go out and watch those people put them in 5 years' time, those roads have deteriorated after a person comes out, the contractor comes out and puts the streets in. They're not putting a base in that they should in the street or it wouldn't deteriorate. We live in the Great Black Swamp. It's not like the rest of Ohio. I mean, I love history. I've read everything I can read on the Great Black Swamp and the history of it and everything that's going on. This damn roads just sink into the swamp. There's nothing underneath it unless they put a base underneath it. There needs to be some kind of ordinance that puts a decent base in the roads so that this won't happen. It's costing the city money. The taxpayers are gonna have to go out before they should have to spend money to repave these roads and try to fix them, where the contractors should have put them in right the first time because of the swamp. Other places in Ohio have a good base to put a road on. We don't. I mean, this goes all the way back when Ohio-Michigan War was started, and the two militias couldn't fight because they couldn't get through the swamp to fight each other, and they would sink, and the railroads sunk. It's the same damn thing with the streets out here we're putting in. We live in this swamp. We need, when we put a road in, the new streets in, the ones that are in, I'm sure can't be all redone. But the new ones going in, the new subdivisions, we're growing like everything in this town. You drive out off of Hall Perry Road and you can see new subdivisions going in. Some of the roads that have been put in within the last 4 or 5 years are terrible already. And I'm watching them put the new ones in, the bases aren't anything. I'm no road engineer. I was a locomotive engineer, but I wasn't a road engineer. And I just common sense tells me that they're saving money, they're putting a low bid in and getting the job done, and it just falls apart, and then we're here, the city people have to put a new street in for them or repave it. This just makes sense. I think I watched Toledo go through a problem they were having with their streets. Yeah, I'm sure all of us did. Toledo's not a wealthy town. The people there aren't as affluent as the people that live in the Perrysburg area. They put in a 1% income tax to fix their streets, to use only on fixing their streets and curbs. Here we are an affluent subdivision of Toledo. I wouldn't call this a subdivision really, but an affluent town of Young, Toledo. We sure as hell can afford something more than what we have in the city budget. Budgeting a little bit here and a little bit there. Well, our streets go bad. You drive all over the old city streets, they're terrible. The main streets are okay, but this is just not good. If you want to see Perrysburg turn into Rossford or East Toledo, it's headed that way if things don't, if new laws and things aren't put in, forcing these new contractors, when they put in subdivisions, to put in a good base. Save us money. You know, who cares if it costs them $300,000, $500,000 more? You know, it's a drop in the bucket to them. And they wouldn't say that, but I mean, a common person would. So, you know, get these people out there, make them put their streets in right, make them put a base in right. Let's get something. It may not be an income tax, it could be something, but we need to get these streets fixed up before we turn into the east side of Toledo. People don't even, I mean, everybody that I talk to hates the streets in this town, the citizens. They don't want to pay any more taxes to fix them, but something's got to be done. And this is ridiculous that we live in a nice city like this and drive on these crappy roads.
I have a question for you, Bridget. You know, these developers are in charge of putting the streets in. Do they have to adhere to standards?
There are standards.
Okay.
Are they state standards?
I believe there's standards that are in our ordinances.
Okay.
Well, then we can change the ordinances and have them put a better base in. I mean, there's no reason why we have to put up with this. Well, a street goes bad in 5 years or 6 years' time, and then you, the city people here, control the money, have to put it in.
Crandon was put in 20 years ago.
Crandon Brook Drive was put in the 90s, I believe it was.
So
That was put in under the Perrysburg Township.
No, it came in right after the city took us over.
But they don't have to adhere to our standards if it's put in the township. They go by the township standards.
Yeah, but we're in the city now.
Right, but when they build it,
No, when they resurfaced the street,
Yeah.
they came in and put new curbs and everything in. The city did that. The township wouldn't do it.
I'll provide the committee with
it
specifications.
seems,
But I don't think Mr. Collins talking just about Crandon Drive. He's
No,
talking about.
I'm talking about the whole city.
well, that's my point. The newer subdivisions, if they're built in the township, we have no
No, I'm talking about new, I think he's talking about new subdivisions that are built here in the city, right?
Right, the new subdivisions need new bases. When they put in a base, when they put in a street and a new subdivision is going in, when they start to build it, let's put the base in so that that street will not deteriorate so rapidly. Let's get it in there, and let's get the damn base in so that it won't sink as rapidly, and it'll be easier and cheaper for the city to maintain it.
They have to maintain our standards, and we go by.
They're not. I mean, if your standards are set up right now, it's ridiculous because they're not putting a good enough base in the streets, or they wouldn't deteriorate like they
will
are.
eventually deteriorate.
They're eventually going. All streets will deteriorate. But we live in a swamp, and if you know the history of the swamp, it's going to sink.
I built roads in areas where it was swampy, so.
I worked on the New York Central Railroad, and the damn railroad, when they first put it in between Toledo and Port Clinton, it sunk completely.
I will make sure I get check out the standards and see.
Can we maybe get our standards, can we get those sent to Mr. Howland?
And the committee, Mr. Howland's contact.
Make sure we give us your email address, we'll get it sent to you.
Jen, Brian, I know you came from Finley, do they, swamp, I don't know if it goes quite down to Finley, have you dealt with it?
We don't have quite, we drained it all a lot, and it's not quite, if you do it right, it's not an issue. You put in, I saw when we upgraded the intersection, we used crusher run and filter fabric, and we had it run to the under drains, which is the way you want to do it.
Can you speak on that, about building, the different bases for different areas, geographical areas?
There is a city ordinance, when it's talking about roads and subdivisions, that says how much, the minimum amount of asphalt and stone base that has to be put in. So when we review the plans, we make sure that that's what's being followed.
Would you
I don't remember the
review those standards?
asphalt off the top of my head. I believe the stone's 10 inches of stone.
Usually there's.
It's probably 3 to 4 inches of asphalt on top of it.
But
We can provide that to you guys if the committee wants us to look at it. Yes, we can look at it. That's fine.
You just don't want stone.
would you be willing to review the standards for the base in an
Absolutely,
area
I
that is a swamp?
I don't have any objection to reviewing it.
Right, and then maybe give an opinion on, say,
That's fine.
if you think that maybe our standards need to be changed
Absolutely, I have no problem looking at it.
to accommodate our
Yes.
area here, since, like Mr. Holland said, we're in a black swamp area that a lot of other parts of Ohio are not. So if these are state standards for the entire state, maybe they apply differently here in our area. Is that something we could look into?
Yeah, I have no problem looking at it.
It'd be nice to know too, like, within the township, some of the townships that may annex, into the city eventually, what are their standards, right? Because we're accepting them in, assuming that they've done the right thing, but we're not inspecting those during that process, or are we?
Not,
No.
not the ones in the township.
No. Did we even check the ones that were in our developments in town? Okay. I knew that we don't even have a right to inspect the township ones.
Yeah, so when we're,
We're at the mercy of the township.
yeah, so we're annexing in and could be something that's maybe not up to our standards.
Exactly. But I can't.
And your section of Crandon was annexed in.
Yes,
Yes,
we
it's-
were part of the township since the 90s, and we were forced in. We
But the
didn't have
city
a
put the
choice.
curbs in, you said?
Pardon?
The cities put the curbs in.
Yes, they put new curbs in on Crandon Drive only.
Okay.
And the rest of the subdivision, the old subdivision didn't get it, even though they needed it. They didn't get that. But the Crandon itself is not the issue. Crandon itself is still in pretty good shape. There are a few potholes, but that's going to happen anywhere.
Yeah.
But the Oddie is terrible driving down it. I mean, it really is. I go into other cities similar to Perrysburg, and usually the streets are a heck of a lot better, and they're not as affluent as Perrysburg. But these new subdivisions going in, say for instance, like I said, off of Hall Prairie Road back in that area, out towards the seminary, I drove out there and watched them work on those roads. I would want my driveway to have a better base than that. And that's my opinion on it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very
Did you
much.
say then, but our engineer just recently said that they're gonna be going out and assessing in the near future
If
here?
they're in the city, I don't think that's in the city.
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very much in the city, yes.
That's when you said,
There's
So
no
we're gonna
reason,
go on- so
there's
that will include
absolutely
these residential neighborhoods too.
There's absolutely no reason why a contractor can't be ordered, if he wants to put in subdivision, wants to sell homes, put a good base in that's gonna last for a while, or get somebody else to put the subdivision in. Simple as that. You're not obligated to one subdivision, one contractor. You're obligated to everybody in this city. And we're gonna pay for that down the road if we don't do it right. You do a job, you do it right, or you don't do it at all. I mean, that's the way I was raised. And that's how I look at everything in my life. If you got a job to do it right, or don't do it.
thank you very much.
Thanks.
Let's move on. I'm gonna have to set a time limit on concerns due to the lack of time getting away from us. I'm opening it up. Anybody else? Any other citizens' complaints or concerns? If there's something on the agenda you want to talk about, can we take care of it now? Go ahead. State your name and your address, please.
Carrie Wellstein, 145 West 2nd Street. Just to move things along, I think most of us are here downtown Perrysburg building or business owners to discuss the ADA compliance issue. Is that, would I just talk about that now?
You go ahead.
Okay.
Just
While I'm up here, I just have two questions because I have to leave to pick up my daughter. From our last meeting, two things I've really been thinking about have been if the person who, or the firm that designed these plans, I'd like to know if they have designed and executed a plan to this degree in another community similar to ours that we could go and visit and see, because it's hard to really get an understanding of what this is going to look like because it's just a map. And I'd also like to know, I've asked before, if there are cities that the committee and council that the mayor have visited that have given him the inspiration or given everyone the inspiration to make this happen, that again, we can go and see, so we can see firsthand what this looks like. So we can say, oh, this is going to work or this is not. And then my last comment is just to look at who is here very last minute. Most of us just found out about this meeting at the end of the day yesterday, and how many people are here, and there are many more who wanted to be here. So I'm hoping that our council really listens to our downtown business owners and property owners concerning this issue. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. I don't think this is just one. I think there'll be a couple more.
This is just the beginning of
Yeah, this
of
is just
discussion.
this beginning. We haven't even, I'm sure I'll make sure there's a couple more.
And so, can we give Ms. Wallstein answers to either one of those two questions? Have these
I think
designers,
they have designed it.
designed anything else in
We will
historic
certainly
district?
provide that question had not been asked until now.
Okay,
The second question was asked, and the Ability Center, I believe, was going to look into that if they're aware of any communities that have done anything to this degree and provide that information to the city administration so we can pass that along.
I've heard of this engineering group, but not in this capacity, and I would like to see it too. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Deborah Bourne, 125 East Front Street. And I'm here actually because I'm in support of the downtown and all the business owners as well as the public. We keep hearing that we have to put in an ADA downtown, and I've walked around, it's already in downtown. Secondly, I'd like to know if the Department of Justice has been contacted, if there has been a lawsuit filed, because I have information on that states the federal government is the one that decides on those matters, not a city. A city cannot tell any of you that you have to do something. You have to a complaint has to be formally complained to the Department of Justice. Those things have to be made public to the public that are done. So they cannot be forced into doing anything. I do have a suggestion, and I'm a person who deals with handicapped people every day of the week. Possibly getting a portable ramp that you can put in and out of your businesses and then pull it in. That would be cost effective and it wouldn't cost everybody a lot of business in the meantime, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
just to address one thing that Ms. Bourne said is that I don't think this plan is forcing any property owners to do
No,
anything.
it isn't.
Okay, but we have been told many times, going back to 2019, if I may, that this has been forced, that this has to happen, quote unquote, or the city will be sued. But I have seen no reference as to why the city would be sued.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Bridget, isn't there a law about ADA compliance?
The Americans with Disabilities Act.
That's what I thought. Okay. Anybody else?
Yes.
Hello?
Matt Skotinski, 213 Louisiana Avenue, Skotinski Financial Group. I'm going to ask a couple questions first. I was at the last meeting, and I just want to refresh my memory. The total cost of this project is approximately how much?
There's two options.
Yeah.
Okay.
And depending on what option.
The option B was just over $1 million, and I believe the other one was $630,000. Does that sound right?
Okay, that's
Yes, one was 630 option A,
and $1 million.
and the other one was
Somewhere between
just over
6 to 100 to $1 million. And refresh my memory, there's how many complaints? 6, 7?
I'm not aware of all of the complaints because many of them went to the Ability Center.
Sure.
I
I just know one personally.
Okay, so let's say there's 6 or
I know
7.
one person as well.
Okay.
I received a letter every quarter.
And how many residences do we have in the city of Perrysburg?
25,000.
25,000?
20 and 25.
Okay, so that comes,
25,056.
Yeah.
and most of you know I'm a kind of a numbers guy, so that comes out to 0.02% of the population that have complained. If you divide that over a 6 or 7 year period, it comes out to 0.003% that have complained about ADA. And all those business owners are here to support the handicapped. We're here to help them to get into our businesses. I've had my practice since 1999, and I've never had an issue with somebody coming up my 2 or 3 inch step in my office with wheelchairs, walkers, and so forth. My wife a few weeks ago had indicated we have 2 elderly parents that live with us, 88 and 87. One broke her hip. We have portable ramps. I brought one with me. These things cost anywhere from $300 to $700 in various lengths. It's an easy solution. I'm here to accommodate anybody that wants to come to my office, and I'm sure everybody here is willing to accommodate anybody to come into their restaurant or business, but to destroy the ambiance of the city of Perrysburg, I think it's ridiculous to spend this kind of money when nobody else in the country has done this yet. Okay?
It's a great solution.
This is a good short-term solution. If we need to go to the next step, let's go to the next step. If we spend $1 million, we spend
Four of these at our
$25,000.
house, right? So this is just for one of our lifts because we have different lifts. And you simply put it out, it's there, they ramp it up. This is one we use on a 3-inch step, but we have four, we have a 7-foot, a 6-foot, a 4-foot, and we have this one, a 2-foot.
This one here.
At our house.
And they're lightweight.
Right, and my parents come into our office as is, with a scooter, with a walker, right, and we have a 3-inch lift. But it's, I just feel like we can immediately help everyone with ADA issues today, tomorrow. Amazon can deliver this tomorrow, and every establishment can have this with some kind of way to contact. I know that things would prefer to be where everyone can do it exactly on their own, but my 88 and 87-year-old parents live in our home. We want them to go anywhere, everywhere, immediately, and so it's an immediate solution that doesn't have to stay in the sidewalk or change the city of Perrysburg, but yet it makes everything accessible now.
I brought a flyer here on these products. They are certified by the NSF and the ANS, and they're also certified by UL Labs. So these things are ADA compliant. This is a great solution versus spending $1 million+ plus. We could probably solve this problem for less than $25,000 to $30,000. Okay.
I guess I was misinformed that we're not doing anything with the front, so we're just.
You need to spend
fixing
No.
what's ours.
Up to the front of the building, which sits on the right, city.
Right, and we're not touching,
Correct.
and we're just fixing what our issues are with our right of way.
Correct.
Okay, I just was curious about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree with you, that is what this is about.
Yeah.
But I think their concern is that, why spend $1 million if the business owners can apply in such a way? I think that's what
But we're
Mr.
not putting
Stickins
ramps in. We're not doing any of that. We're just fixing our sidewalks to make them ADA compliant.
Oh, no.
No,
You're changing the whole
slope and everything.
The slope, yeah, that
You're
is.
changing the slope, you're changing the seating.
To speak and actually take
You're
the council
removing-
members through the document that may shed some light on the scope of the project.
Yeah, can you do that for me?
Sure.
And then we'll get back to things.
I've never been able to get this pointer to work. Is it okay if I
Yeah,
come over here?
I mean.
So,
Would you want me to start at a different road or a different?
this will work.
Okay.
Like we mentioned in the last one very briefly because we were running out of time, there's two separate options that we were looking at.
Yeah.
One is kind of the bare bones, gets the job done. The second option costs more money, but it makes everything flow better, gives it a nicer look when everything's said and done. So to kind of describe the colors that are on here, anything that's this gray color is either a landing or a ramp. So on this first option, we're just doing the minimum we have to. So to get everything up to the door at the face of the building, ADA compliant, there would be some ramps.
Railing.
Correct. There are also railings on the ramps so that no one can stumble off the edge of the ramp. Or
We would be doing that up to the front doors.
It'd be up to, if their door's at the face of the building, yes. If their door is inset in, we'd be going to the landing, matching up with the landing that's there at the face of the building. This blue hatched area that runs through here is what they call traversable path. So that's a path that goes from one end of the street, one end of the project to the other, north to south along the road. Through that area, all the cross slopes will comply with what it needs to be. This other color, tan, pink, salmon, orange, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, are areas where some work would also be done. With the first option, this area would would not meet ADA, it would be too steep. We're keeping this at the minimum.
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to bring that down to your level there.
This meets the slope, and then from here back to the curb, we'd just be sloping it whatever the slope would be. Where there are parking spots, there would be ramps with compliant areas to get up to here. There are some areas where, due to the proximity of the doors, how close they are, one door may be okay, one door may not. If you look, the gray area is actually still coming out, away from the building. The pathway actually walks around it. That's the second option.
That makes no sense.
That-
That makes more sense going out and out.
I didn't say it made sense. I'm saying that's the option that gets the thing done with the minimum amount of work. The second option, we'd be touching a lot more. We'd basically be coming through, taking the curb here, replacing it at a higher elevation. So the slope from here to the base of the building is not as much. And we can get rid of a lot of the ramps. I think it goes down to three or four. Correct. Correct, there are still some there, yes. So like this is option 2, as you can see, we're replacing that, replacing all this. All of these that are here on this page, there would not be any ramps.
What are those lines by the buildings that are up there?
Which lines?
Yeah, you go right off the buildings there, there's like a line that kind of follows the perimeter of the corner and juts out there from the doors. Yeah, what's that?
I believe those could be.
Existing steps.
Could be
aren't
one.
Those, yeah.
I didn't put this together. I'm not with the firm. We did have a meeting with the citizens. There are concerns, outdoor seating. There will be some outdoor seating that will be impacted. Can we reshape it? Potentially. I don't know yet. We haven't started the design phase. It could be reshaped. Maybe it have to be a little smaller. Maybe it could stay the same area, but get more of a rectangle. Some of the other stuff.
I'm trying to.
Well, I think you spoke at that last meeting, Brian, about that parking comes up, right? That would,
Right now,
from
yes,
that point-
this comes down at a pretty good slope. This would come up, so it should make it easier to see the back out. If you're backing out, you're not going up the back out. So
What they do for drainage.
drainage will be addressed. There'll be catch basins added, and that make sure that that's where it needs.
That's straight.
Not flush, not all the way, no. It will still be a depression. But the top will be higher, the bottom, everything will be coming up.
Can you go down to our block, please?
213.
I don't have those, I don't use that.
that's the 100 block right there.
Under option 1 or 2.
2.
This is 3rd Street right here. 213.
213.
I
That's 221 here.
can't see the numbers from here.
That's 221.
One more street.
Yeah, right there. Should be 230.
There you go.
That'll have 213 in
Is it
it. Right there, yes.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have, is this correct or incorrect, that this is now a fence?
Well, that's option A.
It's not.
There's a landing here that ramps up to the door.
And what is this?
There's a rail from here to here. There's a break here with a step, so somebody that would not be the rail up here. There is railing here.
So this is railing here, so this, since this is now going to be an easeway, or forgive me for the right terms, and there's no more flower pots here, correct? So then this is a fence in front of our building and my mother's building, and then this is a fence, and then Casabarron's, then loses theirs. Well, not Casabarron's.
Lupita's.
Thank you very much. And then, so then no more flowers there, and then same thing here. So then this is also for stuff, or not stuff, but rose and thistle. So do you see that this is a very big change? No issues here, no issues here. Perseverance has an issue which could be solved with a ramp.
Leah, let's see what
Let's
option
see
B is.
option
Let's
B.
let's look at 213 with option B. Can you go to that, Bridget?
I would certainly.
In their block of option B?
I don't think option is
So that was option.
No, it had railings.
Right, exactly, Mark. It has railings.
Option B has railings?
Yeah,
Yes.
from like.
Let's let the city engineer finish speaking. Even though option B is more aesthetically pleasing and smooths things out, there are still hiccups because of doorways and the proximity of doorways to each other, and whether one doorway is flush, another doorway has 2 steps. So there are still some railings / ramps in the second option.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Right.
I thought option B took away all ramps.
It
Not
does
all of
a
them.
large majority of them, yes, but
Okay.
not every single one. Here's another case.
Anywhere where it's elevated, there will be rail.
Right. So go back to B in front of our building so that you guys can clearly see. It goes all the way from my mother's building, 215, all the way down. And does it go all the way to DeSalle? Okay,
I don't
so.
think Dan has a
Okay,
railings.
so that is all fenced in. That's not, I realize there's an opening for us to go through the door and an opening to the door. That's B. That's B. So just when you go downtown Perrysburg, think of that. Okay, this is all going to be a fence.
So with those railings.
And
that
again, we
side
have
one,
no
I'm
issues
Assuming
in
it's
heaven.
4 foot, is it 4 foot wide in between the, say, the railing and the building? And that
They'll
gray
be
area?
4 foot clear, yes.
So 2 wheelchairs couldn't fit side by side, or somebody could pass each other, or if there was, say, someone, a pedestrian, or someone walking, right? They couldn't pass someone, you'd have to go back and allow the other individual to maybe access the building or get out of the way. I mean, I'm not like, I'm just asking, I'm trying to imagine it. Right. Is it similar to like, I know I've been on, like, say on the ramp on inside the 5, right? Like I know like coming out of the door, if I go down the ramp, like sometimes I gotta get out of the way, or like I'll like, hop down the steps or something. I can imagine, I've never been on that ramp with somebody with a wheelchair, you'd have to, if it was busy or something, you'd have to get out of the way. It seems like, it doesn't seem like there's enough room there to begin with.
It's pretty wide. 1 inch is 10 foot.
The 4 foot clear is the minimum that you need to meet the standards.
So we're just shooting for the standards, that's.
Right. I mean, we could make it wider.
Right.
But if you make it wider, it takes up more sidewalk.
Yeah.
So that's why we're trying to keep it down. Now, the other thing, when I say this is raised and ramped, the height will depend on what there is at the existing door front. So it may be 8 inches, it could be 16 inches, it may be 12 inches. I don't know yet, because like I said, we haven't gotten to the top. But I just want to make sure, they could be raised this much. It's not going to be raised 6 feet.
Brian, just 213 is only 1.5 inches. They only have 1.5 inches to get into their building right now.
We've had 0 issues,
Correct.
20 years.
So I don't understand, for 1.5 inches, they're gonna have to have a railing?
Because we're prepping
Yeah.
for Lupitas.
Because
and-
if this is 1.5 inches up, if you put your foot on the edge,
Every inch you need like 3 feet.
Right.
Well, but that can't just gradually slope up to it, it has to,
potentially,
yeah.
like I said, this is a concept.
Okay.
Right.
It's a concept to get feedback, positive feedback and negative feedback.
Which we appreciate both.
So I don't mind getting negative feedback. It's feedback, it's all good. I don't take it personally. I didn't design this. This all started before I got here, so I don't take it personally at all. But, we do what we can to try to accommodate everybody. And so, just kind of wanted to run through the 2 options. I know you guys have had it for a while.
I had one more question. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
As far as let's say we move forward with this project, what is the time frame from start to finish of this project? Is it 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 2 years?
For design or construction.
When you start construction,
We're not even to the design
Right.
I understand, but what I'm looking at is the economic impact of all these business owners.
Once it starts.
Once it starts, I mean, this could destroy and put people out of business.
It's happening on Conant Street right now.
Yeah, it's happening on Conant Street.
Now the construction of
So, I mean,
the
if we're looking at 18 months of construction, it's not gonna work.
No.
And that is definitely 18 months.
It's not an 18-month
And $1
project.
million, we'd be surprised if you could make it for $1 million. You know, that's a lot of money.
Thank you.
I'm not the contractor.
I understand.
But if I had to guess, I would assume start to finish in the most 6 months.
I disagree with that.
But that's not gonna be 6 months in front of everything.
Yeah.
I'm assuming if they do this, they're gonna do one lot at a time.
6 months.
What's that?
You can't even put a pool deck in 6 months.
What about farmers market?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I
are
like
you gonna
portable
just shut it down for
instantaneous.
6 months? or a year?
I must,
My name is Emily Conley, 246 West 2nd Street, and I'm not a business owner. I am a resident of downtown Perrysburg, and I spend a lot of time walking around downtown, and for the past 20 years enjoying farmers market. And I think a couple questions. My first question is, this hasn't been voted on. This is just a proposal?
yeah, yeah.
This is the first look that this committee's had.
Yeah.
Okay, so
This is a, yeah.
So this is just an idea that we're trying to figure out how to make downtown ADA compliant. This is not something that has been voted on.
Correct.
Okay, that's good to know, because I do, as a pedestrian, I see a lot of issues with this. My one concern is my father, who's 86, walks with a cane, takes a wide berth to walk. I agree with you completely. I don't know how anyone pushing a stroller next to my father can get around him at all on a 4 to 5 foot. I mean, that's nothing. That is, I mean, if you ever, I've gone to a lot of Perrysburg football games, and I'm pretty sure that the walkway leading down from the stadium is very close to 4 feet. I cannot even imagine farmers market with, or I mean, look at the car show, the Great Race. People lining the streets. I cannot imagine, like you said, how a wheelchair and a stroller or anyone else is getting, I'm not even talking about the ramp, I'm talking about the 5-foot walkway that everyone else who is not using that handicapped accessibility ramp is supposed to be walking on. We would be shuffling. We would be shuffling along the middle of that sidewalk. 5 feet is not very much, and
Can I just clarify?
Sure,
something
sure.
real quick? This part of this concrete, that stays there.
right, but people are gonna have to go then off the sidewalk or down, around,
Correct.
back up.
Planters were made too, though.
But if you don't,
Yeah.
if you don't have a walker, if you don't have an issue, you can walk.
For sure, but you have to think, I agree, I see what you're saying, but a lot of
I just
people.
wanted to make sure that was clear. I understand
Right,
your point.
a lot of people are gonna be walking
But not
with,
during market, because that's all filled up.
If
Not
you
during
speak,
market.
can you
Yeah.
please give us your name and address just for the record?
John Wellstein, 145
Thank you.
West Second. But you're taking up half of that transversal path, because market is here.
Right.
You're losing half of it, and now instead of your public going here and here, they're all going through this whole, and that's, well, this is 5 feet, and this is 4 feet, right?
yeah, that's what it says.
So you're losing just under half of where most of the public is walking there.
And people walk next to each other. Grandparents walk next to their daughter who's pushing a stroller. People don't walk in single file, you know?
Can you step up being?
I just feel like that,
The other way.
This one?
Yeah. I will say, no, I'll come back down. The only thing I must admit, the only thing I do like about these is the curb cut ramps for the parking lot on the streets and the way it'll come up. Those are good. For somebody who parks on the street, who's in
Right.
handicap spots, they have to go all the way down and around. So there's one thing I do
but
like.
couldn't we do a couple of those? Would we have to have it all be that way? I'm glad it's not been voted on yet.
No,
I'm glad that this is all in the
That's why we're
proposal.
doing this today, that's why you guys are here.
But I really do think we need to go spend, an afternoon at a couple different farmers markets. Farmers markets have been wonderfully busy this year because the weather's been beautiful and the streets have been packed to the point that even with it like this, we've shuffled along.
I really like the lady's idea about finding where they had done them and going and seeing them. So.
John Naylor, 101, 103 Louisiana, 109, 115 Louisiana. I was informed about this this afternoon by Mark Eldon, and from what I understand, there's going to be a fence or a railing almost down the middle of the sidewalk. One level will be level with the entrances to the stores, and the other level will be as is. And I like this gentleman's proposal about the ramps, the portable ramps. I have also talked to every one of my tenants in the past because rumors of this has always gone on. And I say, what do you do when a wheelchair comes up? And Mark Eldon is Angel 101. And he said, we bend over backwards, we go out there, we make sure they get in the store, we make sure that the door's held for them, we make sure that they get around the store, and when they're ready to leave, we make sure that they're taken care of. And when I talk to the rest of the tenants, it's pretty much the same story. I see a fence down the middle of the sidewalk. It's going to wreck Perrysburg, and the percentage of complaints to the population is astronomical. I like the portable ramps. I would volunteer that I would buy portable ramps for every one of my tenants if that would help solve the problem. The biggest problem that I see is blocking the sidewalk, like the farmer's market was brought up. I see a mess, and I just see downtown Perrysburg commercially being, heavily damaged, and this it'll only take 6 months to do this. You take a lot of these stores, 6 months with greatly reduced business or no business, they're gone. Now I have an empty building with a fence out in front. It's going to be a tough rent.
Thank you very much.
John Wilson, 145 West 2nd Street, and I have 116, 118, 200, and 202 Louisiana. I think that our downtown is the jewel of everything we do here. I think it's where, Perry's Burgers come to join as a community, and we just have to get this right. We cannot get this one wrong. I'm going to agree with some of their comments about the lady from the ADA place in Toledo. That was the question I asked, how many complaints, and I just said 5, 20, 50. Her answer was 6 or 7 in the last 5 years, which I think is a very low number. My wife and I were in Annapolis earlier this year, and they've done a really good job with ADD.
Where?
Annapolis, Maryland.
Okay.
They've done a really good job with ADD, but one thing I noticed is they stopped short of ramps. They stopped short of railings. I would say they were north of 80% to 85% compliant. You could tell they really did a lot of work, a lot of the grading, a lot of the stuff, but some things that were historic, they said, we got to give a pass on this, and they would find a different way to get people in. Like I pointed out, I think this is going to hinder a lot of foot traffic. I think aesthetically, it's not going to be as pleasing as downtown is right now. That puts me against ramps, that puts me against any railings, and I am strongly against anything that would take away any outside seating from our restaurants. That's their lifeblood. They need that, and everybody from Perrysburg loves it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi. Patrick Leahy, 1116 Timberbrook in 104 Louisiana, Stella's Restaurant. I just want to say, we have people now who come in who have disabilities. There's people that call and they come to the back door, they pull right up. We remove chairs, and half my building's not even ADA compliant because of the nature of the building, you have to climb the steps. But we have people come all the time, people that we help in the front door. Their biggest complaint is not the 3-inch front step, it's that they have to walk a block and a half for parking, right? So, I mean, that's, when you have a cane or your joints hurt, walking the distance is much harder than getting up one step. And I think that's where I wish our focus would be going forward. That being said, I just, thank you for bringing up about restaurants, but when we cavalierly say outdoor seating will be impacted, I'll have you know that's what pays my bills. That outdoor seating, the patio season, that's what makes profit for my restaurant. So if I read in the Sentinel that Stella's patio is going to be impacted, which my customers tell me about, it makes my skin crawl, because that means, should I invest money in my restaurant going forward, or should I say, well, this is coming through and the patio's going to go away? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot I don't know. And again, I don't know why we have to be the leaders on this. There's thousands of historic communities with these same issues across the country. What are they doing? And I think before we ruin this great little town that our generation has control of right now, I lived here most of my life. Before we do something radical like this, I think we really need to see how it's played across in other cities and whether this is a good move for us.
I think we probably all agree with that. Yeah.
I don't know, one of the things I appreciate the business owners for you extending, because your customers and clients well, right? I mean, it's great to hear that from you all, because, I don't see people just wandering down the sidewalk just to enjoy that ambiance, just for, Perrysburg has plenty of outlets for that, right? We have the walk on the river, and many of our parks have access. Is there anybody here that, have you had any complaints, or is it affecting your businesses negatively currently? Because your customers well and clients well. Is there any business owners here, or have we heard of anything?
I actually have one, it's something I've observed, but it's only one store, and I wouldn't even know how to address it because it's the narrowness of the store. This gentleman comes by his little scooter every day. He can not get this one particular store. It's very, very difficult because he can't get a scooter and he can't walk. So. But I'm only aware of one, and if I told you guys would know exactly what I'm talking about, because it's an afterthought story to me. It was one that's crammed in, but I am. So that's
would he be able to get in with a ramp?
No, because of the narrowness of the door.
So a scooter's wide.
Yeah.
So
yes. So that's not the point.
There's nothing that we're going to do here that's going to...
Right, exactly. That's not going to help that.
That's nothing,
That's what I'm trying to... Thank you, Mark. That's what I'm trying to get at, is the only one that I'm really aware of, that's not going to help.
And this isn't going to fix that.
And I'm sure that I would like to think the store owner would be willing to help him and, videotape what they have in their store. It's amazing what you could do to help people ADA. I'm here to tell you.
Well, I know all the small business owners who want that business. So they're going to accommodate. I just
Those are our customers.
work hard to accommodate people into your places of business.
I really like the ramps from the street, the road. That is needed, regardless of what. Anybody else would like to come forward? And this is preliminary, okay? All this is preliminary, none is set in stone.
Dan DeSalle, 201 Louisiana. I just want to piggyback on something Patrick said from Stella's. It was brought up, and I missed the last meeting, and I asked for a record or some information the last meeting, never got it. But regardless, Patrick was concerned about his patio, as I'm sure the other restaurants are.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but if you can get us information, we can get it to you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. We have the door now. Why do the restaurants that are serving alcohol even need the fenced-in patio now?
Is that necessary? And it's kind of an interesting issue because we're talking about all this. Do you need that with a door now with the fenced-in patios?
I don't know the answer to
That's a
that.
good question for the,
Well, the other thing though is, do you want to drink the wine out of the plastic cup?
That's true, yeah, if you
Yeah.
don't, if you don't wanna drink wine out of a plastic cup.
Anthony Billencini, 941 Cherry Street, partner at Swig. Sorry. What you were saying earlier, you said that this had nothing to do with that doorway, etc. So is this whole thing misdirected?
No, I think it's a good,
I mean, if the problem is that each of our separate businesses not
no,
being ADA compliant.
it's a good, don't you think it's a good starting place?
no, I can.
No, because it gives us a point of what we don't want, right? We know what we don't want. We know what we want. So let's work towards that. Wouldn't you guys agree with that? Because, I mean, we know we don't want this, correct?
Is somebody with a disability have a problem going down the sidewalk as it is now?
Yeah.
They do?
No, I'm sorry,
They have a problem getting into the business itself, not going down the sidewalk or even
correct.
whatever.
There are some that do.
There's something to do, but you can fix it one little spot, raise it, get some, I mean, I could use some leverage underneath the sidewalk to fund my building. I know, so, but to do all this, destroy 2 patios, very possibly 2 businesses. So somebody can get in a doorway that has nothing to do with us. It seems this is a little bit misdirected. This has nothing to do with, I'll spend the money to make my own building,
But
or
we
make Ray's building
part of it is addressing the
compliant,
sidewalk
but
issue, is it not? And doing stuff like the ramps to the road so that people don't have to go down to one end of go down to one of the corners to get, if they're in a ADA, if they're in a van, handicap accessible van, and they get out, and they're mid-block like that, they're gonna have to either go down the alley or go down the street. I do like those curb cuts like that.
one of the biggest places in Packard happens to be my place, and we already have handicap in front of it. We're still doing.
They have, but they can't get over the edge of the curb where you're at.
Where's that right, see with all the lines, there's a thing going right, there's.
Yeah, he's to the right of 213.
I'm 219.
221.
He has handicap
This right here
behind
is
his
slow,
building.
right here.
Oh, okay.
So do we.
Because I showed that.
Handicap
Yes.
I showed where you got the sidewalk.
Yeah, but we don't have that doesn't exist now.
You have a ramp there, don't you, Tony?
Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't, but not down by, but not down.
There's not one in front of like Castle Barons.
Yeah, down in that area.
Lupitas.
No.
Sorry.
No, I was thinking
And what you're
about-
saying is if you have to go in the middle of the block and you just have to raise those spots up a little bit. Yeah, that's
Thank you.
That's probably a good thing to do, sure.
No, I do.
But we're talking about the actual
No,
walkway.
what I'm saying, that's all.
Yeah, that is a good thing in this plan. I like that in the plan.
That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
I would agree.
I just have another question. Really, as a property owner, business owner, with my father owning a sizable amount of properties as well, this is honestly keeping me up at night because this will impact like our life. And I just want to know that I'm hearing correctly that none of this is set in stone. Because we have been told that this is going to happen, that the mayor is going, this is his project, and this is going to happen. The money is going to be spent, and it is happening. I would like to hear on record that that is not the case, and that this is a discussion that is not cemented, it's not set in stone, and that this right here can be thrown in a garbage can, since it is not what anybody wants, and we can find reasonable solutions like ramps, maybe a couple curbs that don't impact outdoor seating, and that, yes, our businesses will be the priority in our downtown and all of that. Is this correct?
I can say that this will not move forward without council approval.
Right.
Okay.
And council will get recommendations from this committee, and we may even go to a committee of the whole to
Okay.
get all of us discussing it at once like this.
Fantastic.
But there's a lot more.
We're not
happening
even,
there.
we're not even close.
Right.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
There's
Then
so much more research and discovery. And
every one of us in here is willing to put forth our time and our resources and our energy, but we just need to be informed, like, when we are needed and when these meetings are going to take place. And the more advance notice we have, the better, because we have a lot going on in small business.
I apologize if you know, you didn't get the a notice of this meeting. I don't know when the agenda came out exactly. I mean, we've had it for a long time.
3:28 yesterday.
I will tell you this, the fourth Wednesday of the month, this committee meets,
Okay.
and we'll be discussing it in September, the fourth Wednesday of September too.
That is perfect.
And I would love for you to come back and give more opinions, and maybe we can have some more research between now and then. When you were out of town, did you take any photos of that?
I did. I took
Annapolis?
of Annapolis. Yeah.
I'd love to see them. I'd love to see them. And I really like Ray's email that he
Yes.
sent to us, and
And I
it's
also
very helpful.
Yes, and I did research on Savannah. Savannah has the same policy kind of as Nantucket of, hey, we're a historical community, we can't be digging up our streets and our sidewalks, but we will do whatever we can to help you. But one thing that, again, is troubling me is that the mayor's response to my father's email was very much, this has to be done because it's the law. But that doesn't make much sense, because that would mean we would have to do it everywhere in Perrysburg if we are going to be that mindful of the law. Like, all of our parks should be fixed. I mean, it would be
The city building.
$1 billion project, you know? I mean, so anyway, the response that was received that my father shared with me was a little troubling as well. I think you guys were copied on that. So again, we just need to know that we are going to have input that is notice that this is not going to work, and then we can not, like, yeah, I won't wake up at 3 a.m. tonight going, oh my goodness, our downtown will be destroyed. I might.
We don't want to put all the research.
I'm gonna try.
We want more research on this, and we don't want you to have to do it all. But we're gonna do as much as we can.
Yeah, we
I'm happy to help.
We need to wrap this. I don't mean to cut people off.
Okay.
We really need to wrap this up. I will
just
say,
make one more comment?
I was in a place where they had a railing with and I can't remember what it was. I thought it was a strange thing. Can you just make it quick, please? We need to wrap this up for 5 minutes.
Leah Skotinsky, 213 Louisiana Avenue. I think it's just, I just want everybody to know, we are all on board with taking care of people with ADA. Like, we are all passionate about that. 100%. Okay.
Thanks.
That's one thing we don't know. Well, do we have any other business? Okay.
Italy. You know, I always have other business, but I know we're running late. So I'll make it quick. This was way more important.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for coming out. We really
We
valued
really,